Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of International Forum. I am Wilson Marshall. Today it is all about the arrest of Donald Trump, his impact in the forthcoming U.S. presidential election. Just paint the picture, the mugshot of Donald Trump raised over $1.7 million US and counting. His mugshot alone with an inscription. We'll talk about that later. Is it going to boost his morale? Is it going to give him sympathy voters? Is it going to really dismantle, shatter his ambition of becoming, for the second time, U.S. president? My analysts will throw more light on that. Before we delve into the discussion segment, let's take a look at some of the stories making rounds. Moving on to Zimbabwe, where the election was conducted, and Emmerson Mnangagwa, the president of Zimbabwe, the incumbent president, won by 56.02% votes. Yes, of that nature, but he claimed victory. And he was telling the people that it's going to be time for change, time for hope, time for them to really make Zimbabwe a better country. But the opposition are saying that what he did or what they experienced in the election was likened to a coup. Yes, he was accused of intimidating voters. He was accused of not allowing voters to come out the way they want to come to vote, to the extent that the opposition rejected the result. International observers, they have a lot to say about it, saying the election was wrought with intimidation, massive intimidation. I mean, you get to see some persons not being allowed to move out of a particular city, a particular village, a particular house to go out there to vote. And they are saying that they reject the result, they reject the way it was conducted. And why they were asked if they will go to court, they were like, who controls the court? Yes, because a supporter of Mnangagwa, ZANU-PF, was like, come on, if they are not satisfied with it, they should go to court. And they asked the question, who controls the court? The answer is as glaring as that, but as it stands right now, Mnangagwa Emmerson is the re-elected president of Zimbabwe and is going to be doing that for a while. Do you think the court is going to upturn the victory of Emmerson Mnangagwa? That is what we are watching. That is what we are going to really observe to see if Zimbabwe, in the absence of Robert Mugabe, that was shown the exit door by the crocodile, Mnangagwa, let's see if the country will be better than it used to be before. Don't forget part inflation rate. Don't forget also the fall of the Zimbabwean dollar. So many things happening right now in Zimbabwe, but he's saying it's a time for renewed hope. Let's just see how all this will pan out. Let's move straight down to what is happening between Russia and Ukraine. Yes, the war is ongoing. The war is still raging. Russia calls it special military operation. Ukraine calls it you invading our territorial integrity, and this means war. So Russia-Ukraine war, and Ukraine death toll increase in its war with Russia because they've been losing so many persons. Widow and widowers being made because of the war. You get to realize that in war, there are really no winners or losers in war, because both sides are losing a lot in this war. They are bleeding really hard in this war. But the worst hit, yes, is Ukraine, because the war is going on in Ukraine. Ukraine have lost seasoned military personnel. Russia also they've lost, but the losses in Ukraine is like more, yeah, well, compared to that of the Russian side. And people, they are crying, they are wailing, because they've lost something, country, a part of a country. They've lost their cities, they've lost their village, they've lost their town. Even when the Ukrainians are trying to reclaim those land that have been lost to the Russian troop, it is somehow a Herculean task, because they've made just little gains. And Russia is still pounding Ukraine, despite the fact that F-16 fighter jets given to Ukraine, they need to at least 6 months to learn how to operate those jets for effective and efficient counter-attack. Until then, what do you think will be left of the Donbass region? That's a question many people are really asking, and answer seems to be like, drifting. Because right now, I don't know, war's not a good thing. It's really not a good thing, because Volodymyr Zelensky is seriously under pressure. Seriously under pressure. Okay, finally, let's move straight down to what is happening right now in Florida. Yes, in Florida, natural disaster. Florida and Cuba are bracing for tropical storm Idalia. That seems to be the latest in this region. Don't forget that of California. It happened. The storm Hillary visited California for the first time in over 80 years. The northern part of California experienced flood for the first time in over 80 years. To show that global warming is real. Right now, it is heading towards Florida and Cuba, and they are getting set to welcome this storm. You know, when you talk about natural disaster, natural phenomenon, no matter how set you are, no matter how prepared you are, the best thing for you to do is to leave that region until the storm, the tropical storm, gets through or passes through. There's little or nothing you can do just to go hide. Look for shelter where you will not be affected, because Mother Nature is calling. Global warming is real. So what is the citizens of this planet really doing about global warming? Don't forget also China is having its own fair share of natural disaster. We're going to see flood ravaging so many parts in China. Some other parts of China experiencing drought. You see like opposing trend happening in the same country, happening in the same planet. One drought, one excess flood. So Mother Nature is reacting to the activities of man that is like making nature to be somewhat unbalanced. Well, they should brace for it on our hearts and of course mind. Our prayers goes out to those persons that will be affected. God give them the strength, the wisdom to bear the incoming storm Idalia. We'll go on a break right now. We'll return. We'll dive straight into the topics with my guests. They're already in the studio and they want to share their thoughts and their opinion on this particular discussion. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, it's a live studio. You just heard them discussing about one or two things normal in a live studio. Well, if you just joined us, this is International Forum. We're taking a look at the arrest of former President Donald Trump, the impact it will have in the forthcoming U.S. election. With me here in the studio, I have a legal practitioner, a legal affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Barrister Emmanuel Obapolo. Barrister, welcome to International Forum. Appreciate your coming.
It's been a long time. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
Yeah, it's really been a long time. 2 months or thereabout, I counted. More than 2 months. Honorable Frank Amigo, welcome, sir. It's been like 2 months. Is it 2 months?
Vacation.
Long vacation.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I know you are aware of what transpired because it was like all over the news. Trump arrest, but it went mug shot. He wasn't really worried about the mug shot. He looked even menacing at the mug shot, intimidating the mug shot. But what really surprised me as an anchor is that the mug shot sold out $1.7 million and counting. I don't get it. Let me start with you, Honorable Frank Amigo. What can you make out of all this? His arrest, his ambition, and of course, his own mug shots selling up to that amount. Over.
Yes, he submitted himself on Thursday in Georgia, and he came in a grand style in his Boeing 757 private jet. And from there, moved on to the place where it's supposed to be jailed, and was able to secure a bail of $200,000, equivalent to 160 pounds sterling. And the mock shot, I think, is a political gimmick, because before now, any persons that has gone through that process, having that shot, in a way, put an end to the person's political career. But the Republicans want to use it to shine, to show party loyalty and all that. I don't think that's a good sign. Even would they have sold $1 trillion, it amounts to nothing in the consciousness of a true American. Because it disgrace, Trump has made a name for himself, being the first American president to go through that process. The 45th president, having sought a mugshot in a way, will jeopardize his election next year. Though the Republicans, about 78% of them have agreed that Trump should continue with the election next year. But that's just within their own sphere of politics, the Republicans. And that does not speak about the generality of Americans. So if he could have that divide in his own party, 200% not asking him to go ahead next year to contest, it means there's a crack in the wall of the Republicans already. And it is not time to show off. The 16 or 18 count charge against him, he should try to settle that. And in the midst of that, election campaigns will start off in earnest anytime from now. That will in every way work against his becoming a president, even a candidate. I know there are about 16 of them in a Republican Party that want to contest, as against 3 in a Democratic type, and they also have 1 for the third party. So what Donald Trump should be doing now is to clear himself of those charges. Those charges are criminal. And a mugshot commonly is taken by the police to show of someone, for instance, say this person is wanted. So a photograph is taken and is circulated. It's just like what we commonly see in the society nowadays, whereby years ago in one of the American prisons, they release them after they have done their jail term, and they wear their trousers they initially wore, and is able to fit into them, and it became what is now probably called sagging. So they now make fun of it. Sagging is still an offshoot of criminality. Okay. So what Donald Trump is doing now, we have sold $1.7 million of it.
And counting.
And still counting. It makes no difference in the political space.
To you?
To me.
I'll come back to
okay.
you. I'll come back to you. Yeah. Barrister, do you share his views? You say
I disagree absolutely with him.
You disagree?
Yes.
Okay.
Donald Trump is a unique personality. And going by the history of America, you discover that just now he has been criminally indicted 4 times. And the germane question is, out of these 4 times, how many times has he been sentenced? That is the germane question. So, and that's why an average American who is a Republican believes that the drama just now, in quotes, is just a political indictment. They don't want to look at it from the legal aspect of it. Rather, they consider it to be political. Maybe in a way to see how the man may be discouraged to continue with his ambition. And that is the singular reason why I did opine that he is a special and unique character. If you look at him, he is that type of personality that never give up. Look at the convoy. Look at the ride. You will begin to wonder, is this a person that is indicted? And permit me just now, I think this is what some of our political leaders in Africa admire so much, that even when you see some criminal indictment, it's as if nothing is happening. Because Donald Trump is a character that most political leaders in Africa admire so much with the way he does his things. Somebody did tell me that Donald Trump is a black man in white skin. And I think I agree absolutely with that person. Now, going by what is happening just now in America, we discover that, first and foremost, the man was merely indicted. He has not been sentenced he has not been convicted. You get it? So, like, I want to go through some of the charges against him. They said defrauding United States of America, and the punishment, the sanction there is 5 years. They said distorting an American official, 20 years. Then trying to overturn the elections of the United States of America by 11,780 votes. And that is 10 years. Now, when you go through the charges and the sanctions that accompany them, you begin to wonder if the court now convicts him and a sentence is pronounced on him, and you add that to the age of Donald Trump just now, I want to believe that it's better to just give him a license to go to hell and begin to relax there if it is a place of relaxation. But I think because of the political undertone, I think personally that the singular reason why all of this is playing out is to see how they can weaken him, particularly because of his relationship with the person of Putin, the president of the Russia. So, going by all of this, I still have my doubts whether or not he may be convicted and sentenced.
All right. You say have your doubts.
Yes.
Okay. He said Trump is a unique personality. He disagreed with some of your points you raised. He said, look, the man is a man that doesn't give up. He still goes on. Don't forget that because of this indictment, he missed out on the Republicans' debate. Do you think he's going to tell in his popularity? Because people are saying that right now, because of that action, that his popularity is like getting higher and higher in America as the day goes by.
Yeah, like what Mr. Babalo said, maybe he didn't mean to say disagree with me.
But he said he disagree with you.
He just said to me, he said he disagree. He didn't mean it. So the points he made, I agree with mine. He was only carried away by the words of Donald Trump.
Bravado of Donald Trump.
It's unique. Of course, it's unique. The first American president to have a mugshot is unique. So that the uniqueness should be positive, but that's negative. So whatever accusations leveled against him is still alive to prove them rightly or wrongly. And in law, nobody talks about your age. It's a challenge that is brought to court. Somebody can be jailed 150 years and the person is 90 years old. Right. So when you say because he's already elderly and those charges should be relaxed. No. Nigeria is such a place that we have weak institutions. If some African leaders want to toe the life pattern of Donald Trump, no wonder we're having challenges in Africa, especially in Nigeria. If such a thing that indicting the former president happens in Nigeria, in fact, it can never happen. It can never happen. In fact, the next thing you hear of, you quoted us out of context. So what we are saying now, the popularity of Donald Trump is challenged. At that debate session, it wasn't there. That's why the 78%, not Americans, the Republicans alone, 78% said he could carry on. Then what happened to 22? So the crack widens. I'm sure as the day goes by, we're going to see more cracks. And 78 might turn to 28 or whatever figure. So if you say you want to be my president, you should come to the table with clear hands. Not that some matters that are mundane, you are trying to upturn election results. So in other words, you as a person, you are not even democratic. Democracy does not suggest that you upturn or overturn a result. So the charges against him.
It's an indictment.
It's an indictment, yes. So this is the first time of Donald Trump being in politics in America. So why would that 2020 elections that he couldn't really function as he expected? So sort of create a challenge for the whole polity, and the American people have long outgrown such things. If he's a white man says a black man in a white collar, it becomes a bigger problem for America. Because if it's going to rule America the way Africa is ruled, Americans will make sure such a character does not come up.
All right. Now you just hold on. I want to go for a break. We'll return. We'll continue with this discussion. Don't go away. Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. We're taking a look at Trump's arrest, the implication that you'll be having in the forthcoming U.S. election. That'll be next year. But don't forget that because of these arrests, he missed out on the Republican debate. People are talking about it, if it's going to affect his chances. But from the polls we are getting, it is not affecting him. Honorable, we were with you before we went on that break. Yeah, take it up from there.
It's affecting him already. If the Republicans will say, out of the 100%, 78 will agree for him to continue to run. So, there is the effect already. Because at the political level, your own party, you don't have 100%, even 98. The worst should be 98. So if 78 said go ahead and 20 said no, it means there's a challenge at that level. So there is no right-thinking person aside from politics. Those 78 was just because of party loyalty. They have no choice. It's not like in Nigeria, you're in one party today, the next day you're another party, off and on. If you make up your mind to belong to a political party, whether you are going to be a card-carrying person or not, if that's your mindset, you follow it to the end. So if such persons in the Republican Party decided at 78, okay, go ahead, 22, don't. It means the popularity is challenged. I know talk about the generality of Americans in America. And if there's a way to do a statistic on that, I'm sure not more than 20% of Americans will want Donald Trump to come back as a president. Because the democracy you want to go into was what you were fighting in 2020, trying to utter figures here and there. And you're coming up as a democratically elected president, and now you are tampering with democratic values of the nation. So by that, his popularity is going to be challenged.
Well, you heard them talking about the popularity. He missed out on the debate. Don't forget the issue of the mug. His own private campaign organization raised enough money from the sales of those mug shots. Take it up from there. Well,
Again, I disagree with
Okay, fine.
In the world of grading,
yes,
78% is an A. I do not anticipate a situation where Donald Trump should have 100% or 98 at most, like he did.
His own party.
Yes,
his own party.
Yes. There are other candidates. They have their own followers too. I think that 78% was good enough. But be that as it may, you know, the way an average American is democratically minded, unlike we from the other part of the world or from this part of the world. They understand the intricacies, the tactics, the style of democracy better than us. And also, we should look at the other side of the divide. The man at the end of the day may have a sympathy vote, particularly where he is not convicted and sentenced. It will now amount to a show game. People will begin to say, so they do not have enough evidence to indict this man and to convict him and sentence him. Then, what happened with his arrest? Those people ask questions, unlike us here, where you see in our common parlance, oh, babao. No, it's not like that there. So, one, his trial should, I know there's going to be transparency in his trial. And if at the close of the day, like I did mention, the man is not indicted, why the arrest? Why all of this play out? So, while we watch how the game turns out to be, we should also be mindful of the fact that Donald Trump is that personality that has this aura of carrying people along. You can see, just like they indict him on the Capitol exercise that took place.
In the Capitol riots.
Yes. All of that, they've not been able to come up with any
concrete evidence
against him. So, I don't want to conclude, and at the close of the day, we have a situation where all amounts to political trial of the personality. And you know, he's the talking type. Even with all that is happening to him, you still see him talk. You still see that showmanship. You still see that zeal and zest of his political career that he possesses. So I want to also use this platform to advise that if they don't have any evidence to really cage him, I think it is high time to tell him that they are sorry, to apologize to him.
They should apologize to Trump.
Yes, because if at the close of the day everything turns out to be that there's no concrete evidence against him, then why all of this? So we will still see a situation where, according to comrades, the 78% will not shoot up to even more than 100%, because sympathy may creep in. Even in this part of the world, we still see situations where we exercise sympathy.
Sympathy votes.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I don't think over there is different. So, they should be careful, ensure that not just giving somebody 20 charges or 20 counts of an offense, alleged offense that the person has committed, maybe perhaps because some persons have special interest in the matter. No. Even with what they said, that he tried to overturn the election with 11,780 votes, they've not been able to prove it. They even talked about the Russian connection in trying to hijack the 2020 electoral process. Yes, still not proven. So, with all of this they've been coming up with, like I did say from the outset of this discussion, that the man has been criminally indicted 4 times.
In 5 months.
Yes. How many of them have they been able to prove against him?
Good question.
So I think there's a question begging for answer.
And I'm trying to question at you.
Answer now.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not very clear to me now why Barrister is disagreeing with me. Because I've seen, I'm sympathizing with his emotions about Trump. And he's only wishing. You are wishing, if those indictments don't translate, you are wishing if the 78% will go more than 100. Things will not be like that. Emotions don't vote. You come out to make things work. If it's going to be very popular, that he would have displayed in 2020 by winning the elections. The same Americans voted him out. And they have seen his antecedents. For you to come back, at that time, 2020, it was not having this indictment. And he lost out. Now he's having the indictment. These allegations. So why would you think he's going to win now?
I like the words, it's allegations.
Yes.
Not yet proven.
He has not been convicted yet. He has not. So he was not having all these challenges in 2020. And he lost out. And now he's having them. Is it now he's going to win? As is commonly said, somebody slammed you on the floor and sat on your chest, and you are at the ground, you are saying, come on, they will finish you. You had no obvious challenges in 2020 or even before 2020, and you lost out. The system was tired of you. The people were tired of him. So we needed somebody
Is
new.
it the people now or the Democrats?
They voted him out.
Because from what he said this is a super duper case of witch hunt.
It's not. That's the politics in it. That's the politics in it. I'm sure you are warming up to disagree again. Because I'm facing the reality. I'm not going to vote there. I'm not a citizen. But I'm not going to put in any emotions. From what I've seen, I've read, Trump does not have a better chance of winning. It does not. So whatever his friends are doing to make a T-shirt out of a knock shot, it's just a way to show that we are not gone yet. We are still around. They could tell us they raised $5 billion. They told us, I didn't see the money. They could say, oh, one person is buying one T-shirt for $1 million. So who's going to buy it and use it for what? Wasn't it the same Donald Trump that the Americans voted out? They are now saying they are buying the T-shirt $1.7 million and still counting. Oh, are the people buying them? I was going to ask the PD to show those people buying the T-shirts. If PD has it, let's display it. But
the thing is that it's in record that mugshot sold over $1.7 million.
One person would have paid $1,000 for one T-shirt. And there's a T-shirt in the US that is sold for $1,000.
Anyway, the tears of intimacy in handkerchief was it $1 million?
Yes.
Just tears. So in America, some things can happen. Some very strange things can really happen.
Exactly.
All right. Now, you want to disagree again?
I disagree. See, if you go through American political history,
yes,
Donald Trump is not the first president that was dethroned in his bid for second term. I've forgotten the name. I cannot place my finger on the name just now. After that president then lost his second term, the person that came in the second term of that person, he defeated that person. I cannot place my finger on it now.
So saying that history might repeat itself.
I see history repeating itself in America. See, one thing about the Americans is that they understand, like I did say, they understand the intricacies of democracy. Democracy has a language, and democracy speaks. Unlike in this part of the world, where democracy does not have language. Yet the language of democracy is embezzle the money and use the money on the people. That is the language of democracy here. But over there, that is not the language of democracy. There are intricacies. There are rudiments. There are ABC of democracy. And an average citizen understands that. That's why they have political culture. What political culture do we have here? So by the time you politically and criminally indict a personality of the magnitude of Donald Trump, some persons may just sit down there and say, no, this is not how it is done. Why are Democrats doing it in this manner and form? People will ask questions. Though they may not come out to speak, but their vote speaks. Unlike here, where your vote may not speak. So, if you are to go by all of these intricacies, all of these proper understanding of the rudiments of democracy as it is in the United States of America, I think Donald Trump has a chance. And I do not think that he may not have a chance, just like Prof is putting it. Because, you see, indictment is not conviction in law. Indictment is not sentence. And it could turn out to be either true or false. Now, so I was reading somewhere, and the writer asked this question: what if Donald Trump is convicted and sentenced? Will he be allowed to serve the jail term or a fine? That is another angle of it. So when you sum up all of this together, you begin to understand that I think there is more that meets the eye than the mouth can speak.
All right. Someone now saying $200,000 gave birth to over $1.7 million. That is profitable according to their own arithmetical calculation. After all, you sent someone to jail. He was able to bail himself with $200,000. With that mugshot alone, he's making over $1.7 million. If you take a look at the business sense, it makes a lot of sense. back to what you're saying, that he was rejected by the people. If he was rejected by the people, how come, according to Donald Trump now, they are using these indictments, these court cases to distract him? The big question now is, who is afraid of Donald Trump?
Nobody's afraid. No one person is afraid. Like, instead of make mockery of the whole process, it's something shameful to say you are an ex-convict, especially in a developed climate like that of America. What is before you, whether you are laughing or you are not, or smiling or you are tensing up your face, it makes no difference before the law. You want to make mockery of the $200,000 bail
bond
you gave out to say you now made 1.7. A right-thinking American will say, "Oh, is that this man going to sell us out when he becomes president?" Yeah, it's food for thought. Because it's a thing, it calls for sobriety. Yeah. I'm sorry, the people of America, I'm sorry, like what I'm going through now, I never envisaged it.
But you can only be sorry if you are guilty.
Yeah, what is going through something.
But he's saying that he's not guilty.
But it's a challenge he's going through now.
Yes, of course, it's going through a challenge. It's true.
So, as a president to be, you apologize to the consciences of the people. So, sorry, what you're saying now is not what it is. So, when I'm done with it, I will come back and give you a proper relay of what happened. But he's making profit out of a problem that his supporters are having.
His campaign organization.
That's his supporters.
That's his campaign organization for the campaign process. It's a process for the campaign.
What sort of process is that?
That is going out for campaign.
It could just be a bazaar. We have one T-shirt. How much you want to buy? I will buy for $500.
Okay, do you want them to seize his wealth?
So,
the man should be...
He's making mockery of the whole process.
You are sounding more like a Democrat. He also sounds more of a Republican. I mean, two different parties.
He's not a Republican. He's sounding emotional.
What about you, a Democrat?
I'm not about the reality. If you listen to him clearly,
so he's a realist.
He said, I'm thinking. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm telling you reality. I'm not thinking. I've gone past thinking. From what we have on ground,
yes,
his campaign organization could come up with any gimmick to say the shoes he wore to that point in Georgia. He spent about 20 minutes, not more than 20 minutes at that point, his arrival and his departure. That the shoes he wore, somebody bought the shoes for $5 million. So why would you not say what was there to make a story out of? Nothing there. So someone just told you you were caught stealing a bunch of plantain at the market. They took a photograph of you. Then your friends came and produced the photo and pasted it on the T-shirt and started selling. I would be ashamed.
Can you liken that scenario?
Before you, I was just indicted. I will tell you, I used a thing to make fun of. I should be sober at that point, whether it truly happened or not, whether that photograph was manipulated or not, whether that accusation was manipulated or not. It's not a thing to come to the public and you're not selling the T-shirt. To me, that can't be my president.
All right. That means you're sounding more like a Democrat right now. Can't be a president.
And we're in democracy.
Republican.
Donald Trump is...
Because our time is up. You can see I'm getting strong signals.
Aside Abraham Lincoln and two other American presidents that I admire, I think the fourth is Donald Trump.
Donald Trump?
Yes, I like his style. And one thing I like about him is that aside the fact that he's the talking type, the man will tell you, this is what I want to do, and you go ahead to do it.
Good or bad?
He does not give a damn. I think that is what a president. He's not the one that will just, with the wave of the palm, say gone, and the gun is now gunning everybody down. So we should look at...
Barrister.
We should look at... we should look at one, the culture of the people. We should look at the environment of the people. We should also consider the political atmosphere of the people. So if you sum these three together, you will discover that Donald Trump has a great chance to become
losing?
the president
Oh, sorry.
of the United States of America. No matter what, because we have agreed here, including his comrades.
I disagree with you now.
It is an indictment.
Okay, no, I agree.
Good. And an indictment is not conviction or sentence. Do you also agree with that?
I will find out.
Anyway, so let him go and find out why the result will come out in a few days' time.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. There's one great judgment they are waiting for in the month of March. They call it a grand judgment. That means that Trump will vie for the presidency or run for the presidency, is going to impede him from contesting because when he's in jail, if it ever happens, it might not just come out to contest. But in March, we are still watching. This man will be able to weather
March
the storm.
2024.
Yeah. This man will be able to weather the storm. Yes. He's been into a lot of controversies, both for and, of course, against. But he's still saying that he wants to run for that particular seat. Him being indicted, him being accused, him being sentenced to jail after paying $200,000, the jail bond was released, and right now, some are saying that his popularity has soared, others are saying no, it has dwindled. It's only the poll that will tell, and as many miles between now and the D-Day, only time definitely will tell. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to today's show. I appreciate your wonderful analysis. You're not Democrat, Honorable Frank Amigo, Republican, Barrister Emmanuel Bakman. Anyway, we'll do it next week Tuesday, God willing. Bye for now.